It's time for another pre-writing session, the last. Yay! For our final pre-writing, we're going to do tag mimics. Now, what is tag mimics? Well, tag mimics, I don't really know where the term came from. I know that there's a linguistic concept called tag mimics, but I don't understand a single thing about it. And I know that there is a very obscure 1980s punk band that put out 2 or 3 songs, and I kind of doubt it's that. I don't even remember where I heard the term tag mimics or heard this process. But it's all good because it really does work well. So anyway, what in the heck are we talking about again? Oh yeah, pre-writing. Tag mimics is a system that lets you look at and arrange a subject from multiple perspectives. Each perspective that you use to examine your subject encourages different types of questions. And the 3 perspectives that tag mimics as a pre-writing exercise encourages you to take are looking at something as a particle. What are the characteristics of the object experience idea? Looking at something as a wave, have these characteristics changed over time, because waves constantly change and regress? And looking at something as a field, where you consider the object experience or idea in context. And each of these are going to ask you slightly different questions. If you look at your subject as a static object, as a particle, what is it? How would you define it? And how would you explain this definition to someone who has no idea what your subject actually is? Which is the real key here. How would you describe it? What are its characteristics? A list would be fine. Then you go after your subject as a wave, where you look at the change. What is the history of your subject? What was it like in the past? How is it different now than it was in the past? Are the changes happening quickly or are they happening slowly? What are the effects of its changes on itself, on the world? When you look at it as a field, where you look at it in context, how is your subject similar to something else? How is it different than something else? How does it fit into, be a part of, or is important to something else? These are all very different questions which get you a lot of different perspectives on your subject, which is the whole point of a pre-writing exercise, is to get as many possible statements out there that describe your subject, which you can then delve into to try to figure out if it's something you want to talk about in your paper. So I'm going to put this picture in the folder in Blackboard so you don't have to come back to the video. Answer each of these questions one at a time. Go into some level of detail. The more you know about your subject, the better off you're going to be. As always, the more depth you put into your work, the more responses you have, the more material you're giving yourself to work through as you write. So while I want to see at least a sentence for each one of these, the more you put out, the better off you're going to be. And as always, don't be afraid to let your ideas develop. If something comes up in this that's interesting, that's pushing you to a different direction, follow what's the most interesting, because what you're most interested in is going to be the thing that makes the best paper. And you can always contact me via Remind if you have any questions. So I'll see you in the next video. Good luck.